Hey, welcome back to Two Stupid Guys Trade Stocks. I'm Dylan.
And I'm Vinny, and today we're talking about how the SEC and the Department of Justice is finally cracking down on finfluencers with a $100 million fraud case that was filed this week. Dylan doesn't know anything about this, so I'm going to fill him in and you guys in on this entire ridiculous story.
$100 million.
Two stupid guys trade stocks.
Are you trying
See,
to say that YouTube finance gurus were not being honest?
so they did have a YouTube channel, but most of this was carried out through Twitter and Discord.
Oh,
One of them had a YouTube
okay.
channel, I should say. But they're finally trying to start cracking down a little bit, maybe on some of these pump and dump scams.
All right.
It's pretty
Sweet.
happy to hear it. And I don't know about you, I entirely judge a trader's skill set based upon the value of the car which he poses in front of. What do you think?
Um, yeah, I mean, entirely, 100%. They definitely did not
Yeah.
rent those. What's that? Is it
What?
El Toro? Is it El Toro that you could
Uh,
like rent these nice cars?
Turo.
Turo.
Turo. I, I believe that they actually probably own these things because they stole $100 million allegedly by
That's
according to
true.
the SEC. Okay, these pictures I have here actually are from the actual SEC filing.
Oh boy,
You,
that's
you know when a
pretty
picture
damning.
from your Twitter account makes it into an SEC filing, you're doing all right as a stock trader.
Yeah, that's not good. That's pretty bad. Oh boy, what's gonna happen?
All right, so this is one of the guys that was charged here, okay? And he wasn't charged so much as someone that was kind of orchestrating the pump and dump, but someone that was profiting from it. And he ran this podcast, PGIR. PGIR. Want to guess what that means?
I'm just trying to come up with something. I got nothing. PGIR.
Pennies going in raw.
Okay. All right. Nice. That's pretty.
That is quite literally the name of their podcast. This quote right here was just like perfection. Get caught? We're robbing fucking idiots of their money. That shows you how much disdain they had for their followers.
Did they said that on the podcast?
No, no. They actually there was a Discord audio meetings twice that were infiltrated and recorded, and they're part of the SEC complaint. That was a quote
Oh.
from one of them. Yep, yeah. This is not going to be pretty for them. So this is another quote here. I mentioned a stock. This is from that same person, that Penny's Going in Raw podcast promoter, who had all these other influencers on his podcast and would ask them questions about what they're buying and kind of give them leading questions. And he was kind of given allegedly inside information as opposed to allow him to front run these trades as well. Um, he was charged, like I said, as a co-conspirator there. But this is a quote from him from one of those too. I mention a stock, the less likely I am to get involved. Whatever, all that Atlas gets a class action fucking lawsuit. I'm playing this extremely smart. That was false.
Okay.
For the long term, if you don't think all these fuckers go to jail or at least get sued, you are crazy. He's one of them. uh,
Okay.
Playing stupid does not work in court. It's market manipulation. So you think he can now say, like, I didn't know what it was. I mean, you look up the definition of market manipulation.
Oh, I have a question. I feel like other people will also have the same question. If he's being sued, or I guess maybe sentenced, I don't know what's happened, by
So,
the SEC.
two actions. SEC it's a civil complaint. In the SEC complaint, they're asking for the $100 million that was a profit from this entire enterprise back, plus interest pre this era, and a permanent injunction to bar any of these people from participating in the same activities going forward. The Department of Justice also filed their own complaint, which is seeking actual, prison time for this.
Now, what did they do? Because if they weren't part of the pump and dump skill, that's what you're getting to. Okay.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about how this kind of basically orchestrated. But these are the same photos. Like I said, these are the actual excerpts from the SEC complaint. You can see the little kind of
Wait,
notation here.
is his name Zach Morris?
No, his real name is not Zach Morris. He was just pretending to be a Zach Morris. It's in here a little bit later on.
Okay.
Um, but this is the headline from the SEC statement: 8 social media influencers, $100 million stock manipulation scheme promoted on Discord and Twitter. All right. Um, for those of you who say, like, we talk about, I'm going to say allegedly, right? They're not convicted of anything. I knew it was high, but I didn't realize it was this high. So this is from Pew Research from 2019. The federal prosecution conviction rate, if you get charged by the federal government, the conviction rate is 99.6%.
Okay.
So out of almost 80,000 cases in 2018, 320 were acquitted.
Okay, that's a pretty solid batting average.
Yeah. So they've been following them since January 2020, right? The markets were completely asinine over this time period. These guys, the 7 kind of main characters here, had promoted themselves as expert day traders. They were selling access to their private Discord. You get access to us, or not even selling sometimes. They were just offering up their trades so that you could follow them in their multi-million-dollar stock picking kind of game, I guess you could say. These are their actual real names. Zach Morris's real name here, as you were asking, is Edward Constantin. Yeah.
So that last slide was super important. So what they were doing was they were saying a stock. I'm just going to say Meta. Obviously, Meta would not be the one that would work right now. But they would say Meta, here's my price target, here's all this other stuff. And then as volume and buying came in, they would take a quick 20% gain, dip out, but not say anything.
Exactly.
Okay.
That was the game that they were playing. All of the co-conspirators, they all coordinated. So not every transaction included all of them, but it included combinations thereof. So 3 out of the 7 might be on one deal, another 4 on a different deal. But they would all say hey, this is the next play. And they would all buy their allotment of it. Then they would start putting it out to all their social media followings. Right? They're talking about each one of these guys, I think, had a social media following in the order of hundreds of thousands, right? And then the stock would proceed to increase. And immediately in that first wave, they were selling. And they wouldn't even disclose it. They would sometimes say that they were bag holders, and in fact, they actually had profited on some of these transactions. If you read the whole SEC complaint, it's 40 pages long. There's a lot that go through each individual ticker that is involved in this. There's quite a few. But that's the general orchestration of how this was built. Now, this is the other guy I was talking about, that Daniel Knight. His, you must love his Twitter handle here. That was the pennies going in raw guy.
Dip deity.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, he's the god of dips, I guess.
What
right?
a arrogant fuck.
Just a little bit. I mean, his quotes earlier told you all you need to know about him being arrogant there. All right. The 8 defendants have for years promoted themselves as trustworthy stock picking gurus. In reality, they are seasoned stock manipulators. Boom, SEC just hits you right to the head, right? They identify stocks ripe for manipulation, acquire substantial positions in these securities, and then recommend the stocks as good investments to their followers in Twitter and online, podcasts and Discord. Encourage their followers to purchase selected stocks, often claiming that they likewise intend to buy these stocks for themselves and hold them for the long term. Instead, the defendants sell their shares into the demand that their actual promotions generate. That's how it all works.
Yeah, no, that's incredible scumbaggy.
Yep, exactly. They aided and abetted. That's what Daniel Knight is accused of here. That's that Pennies Going in Raw podcast, which is interesting. Co-hosted popular stock trading podcast, promoted other defendants as expert traders, providing a platform for them to reach the audience. Right? They claim they're the #1 stock trading podcast, but I don't know.
One of their guys is named Hennessy.
Yes.
They were aided and abetted by Daniel Knight, who, with Hennessy, co-hosted a
Yeah. So during this time period, this is to show you how profitable this was, right? So you have, what was it, seven defendants here, right? From 2020 through right now, where this was filed this last week. So in the last 2 years, basically, these 7 guys profited $100 million in actual kind of proceeds from this manipulation scheme.
Okay. You know what's really disgusting about that number on top of that is the mentality that we've seen this with channels when we've made fun of AMC people being hey, this is not going to work, right? I guarantee you, if you go on their channels, even after this comes out, there will be people defending them. Be like, no, 100%. They're completely brainwashed. Completely brainwashed. It's like Nikola investors. It's already come out. It doesn't even matter. The evidence is there. He's being sentenced. No, everything's good.
Yeah, no, exactly. I know people are completely, I don't know how to put this, but beholden to their stock picking gurus. That kind of faith is largely undeserved, basically.
It's weird.
Yeah, I don't even understand. It's a cult like following.
Yeah.
That's a good way of putting it.
We don't have any.
No, no, we definitely don't. But yeah, like I was talking about how that like, they did not disclose that they were coordinating this with each other. All right, so this isn't just one guy doing this to his followers. This is, you have 6 major kind of central influencers in that podcast, gentlemen. All of them promoting this to all of their audiences in a coordinated fashion. They had discussed this behind the scenes first. That's where it gets really disgusting. So primary defense lied about losing money. Yeah, a particular stock that profited handsomely in order to generate trust among their followers. And in reality, they had actually made money, but they're trying to tell everyone like, no, we're bag holders just like you guys. So that's one thing you won't get here. We're actually honest about this. We have no clue what we're doing.
Yeah.
And people accuse them of dumping, right? And like they all have statements here where they're denying it. I don't dump on people. I'm not going to continue calling something just so we can get out. We take our losses, whatever, and you move on. Just talking about like every single one of them basically here is getting called out by their users, and they're putting out saying like, no, I totally don't do that. I don't dump on my followers, nor do I even have a following big enough to dump on. Okay, you guys are my family.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, this was the guy in front of the green Lamborghini. In case you were curious,
Whoever has my back is
sniper.
a real MVP.
Yep. I posted many negative P&L images. I mean, maybe he has. The other thing that some people do with this sort of deal is that they trade in multiple accounts. The SEC filing did not say anything about that, whether or not these guys were trading in multiple accounts or to like help hide their losses. But that's pretty much it as far as the nitty gritty of this story. Are you happy to hear that the SEC and the DOJ are finally coming after some of these financial influencers for doing these pump and dump schemes?
100%, because I find it incredibly annoying when people will post like you for instance. I don't remember the guy's name, Chris something.
Same. Yeah, same.
You came up with that video and you're like, this guy is going to go to prison. And we already had people call me like, no, he's not, all this stuff.
Yeah.
I would actually go the other way on this. I think if you are willing to steal money from people's pockets and be misleading about it and lie about everything, minimum 20 years. Because you're a scumbag. It doesn't matter. 2 years in prison is going to be, like, you're not going to do anything. You're just going to come out and do the same shit. Like, screw off. I have no problem with that.
One of the things he's asking for is an injunction to prevent these guys from ever doing this sort of stuff again, which, something. Yeah, I know. It was pretty crazy. There was someone defending Chris Sainem from that video that actually was saying it was because I'm racist. That's why I called him out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah. I'm calling these guys out. I don't even know what these guys' races are.
Wait, you're Portuguese.
Well, what difference does that make? I don't really know. But, yeah, I have no idea. I mean, I guess these guys all look like white guys from their pictures, but like that doesn't mean anything to me. I just just never trust a guy named the stock sniper posting with his green Aventador.
This is a bad time to reveal my new call sign. It's stock sniper. Yeah, that's what it is.
Well, it's already taken. I mean, his Twitter handle was Ultra Calls. I don't know.
Okay.
About that. I mean, Ultra Puts, maybe?
Yeah, I am short the shit of stuff. I think these guys are scumbags. I would be surprised at who would defend them, but I'm going to say thousands of people will, because that's the world we live in. That's it. That's all I got.
Yeah. I know. It definitely, from a financial influencer standpoint, it makes me a little bit more cautious in terms of my thinking about how I explain things from a stock standpoint. I mean, the day someone pulls us into court and is trying to say like, oh, it was clearly these guys that I was following. It's like the channel's called Two Stupid Guys Trade Stocks. Why would you follow their advice?
we post everything. We don't have multiple accounts. We post like actually, if you're watching this, a video just came out of my short options in live from Robinhood. So I got nothing to hide. I don't care.
Yep, I'm happy to hear about it too, though. There's plenty more where this came from, so they have a lot of people they can go after.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, let us know what you think about this in the comments below.
Later.